Good morning, fellow teachers. Today I'm going to be talking you through the Constructivist Classroom and how my teaching pedagogies personally align with this theory. So let's get going. Participate instead of replicate. Constructivism is enabling students to become proactive and involved learners instead of passive participants in the classroom. By sharing our existing knowledge with peers and teachers alike, we will collectively expand our understanding. Teachers need to get to know their kids, take that humanistic approach, be caring, be empathetic, and really show an interest in them to be successful in implementing constructivist-based activities. Then when implementing discovery-based learning, you'll be able to see the power of exploration and real meaningful questions. The main names behind the theory are two of my absolute favourites, Piaget and Vygotsky. Both agreed that social interaction was highly important with peers and significant others, such as parents and teachers, for cognitive development. However, their main focus did differ, with Piaget focused on psychological constructivism and Vygotsky on social constructivism. Piaget, known for his 4 stages of learning, also established 2 key components which enabled the construction of new knowledge by students. This was assimilation and accommodation. Assimilating is when students aligns a new experience with an old experience to help them while they adjust and develop their new perceptions on what they once knew. While accommodation is altering that new experience and refusing to see it any other way than the old experience. This is of lower mental capacity and less creative drive. Piaget was focused on the individual and how they construct their knowledge and beliefs through learning. While Vygotsky believed, as do I, with learning happens with the assistance and enjoyment of other people. A fundamental aspect of Vygotsky's theory is the zone of proximal development. In 1962, Vygotsky himself said, "This is a range of tasks that is too difficult for an individual to master alone, but it can be mastered with the assistance or guidance of adults or more skilled peers. Group work is great in this setting. Peer-to-peer learning, where one peer is the expert, is awesome. Scaffolding and guidance will be required to ensure the best outcome." Now that we've seen a clear picture of what constructivism means to me, here is a number of words, phrases on my screen you can see that describe what teaching really means to me. My classroom will be filled with eager, meaningful questions, I'm sure sometimes silly as well. Importantly, acceptance, empathy, honesty, and a real reflective space, as well as movement, bold colour, collaboration, and real motivation and drive. All of these things and more enable me to bring a humanistic approach into a constructivist classroom. Let's talk taxonomies. Bloom's taxonomy is helping our students to reach their goals. Bloom's begins with remembering, moving to understand, apply, analyse, evaluate, and ultimately to create. Bloom's is very outcome-based, so we're looking at what children can demonstrate. For example, if you were the teacher reading the class a story, to ensure all students have then understood said story, you could split them into pairs, get them to talk about the facts that they've learnt together. Then to ensure they've really got this, maybe a quick game of true and false as a class. Then you could ask students to imagine the main character in a different setting. Write about him there, draw a picture about him there, draw on information that they already know, but then you're asking them to make a unique individual piece of work. While when talking about solo, that emphasises what is required of the student. What skills are they looking to develop through this task? In the unistructural, the story, they need to be actively listening. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to comprehend anything in the multistructural phase. It is vital to be able to go to each phase, otherwise they cannot progress. Relational, bringing it all together, developing our story, looking at the new surrounding. And then in the abstract, you really want them to develop something creative, something new, something unique. Maybe it is the picture, maybe it's a mini movie, maybe it's using iPads. Is all unique. As educators, we are aiming to seek deep learning with our students, not stop at surface level learning. This meaning stuck in the uni or multi-structural phase, which is less mental processing required, while relational and extended abstract is where we're asking students to dig deep, get creative, and really start problem solving on their own. This is a couple of pictures of examples of what my classroom might look like. Evidently, before COVID struck us all down, they would never be this close. So on the bottom left here, we have kids really eagerly reading over a book, very excitedly group work together. Again, in the top right corner, you can see another group work, but being facilitated by a teacher with the use of an iPad, so something a little bit different. The strengths that are evident in constructivism are that theory acknowledges that students are powerful contributors to their own learning. It involves all the senses. You're really getting them moving, you're getting them feeling, everything, and which I believe is a really strong reflection of our modern world when we are so overloaded with information these days. However, there are limitations. It can be incredibly time-consuming to set up, which is vital for its effective outcome. It can also be incredibly stressful for a teacher to set this up, and you have to acknowledge that every child is different. It might not work for them, as it does lack direction, structure, and for some students this will result in very low motivation. And as a final note, it is important to note that while some say constructivism lacks direction and guidance for students, there is theory and science behind the practice, which ensured it to be successful and a credible choice for teachers. Teachers are facilitators and students are explorers. Teachers require innovation, adaptation, understanding, and excitement. I am of the belief that all children have the right to an education that suits their needs, pushes their boundaries, and excites their minds. Thank you so much, and I hope you've enjoyed my Constructivist Classroom.